I have not needed to watch any of the school board meetings. I have not felt the need to do that. And so therefore, I printed out the plans. I went to the meeting, and I was happy to say some of the school board members were there. Mr. Marin gave a presentation as far as what the status was of the plan. And in that meeting, there were many, many people that voiced the same opinion that I had, and that was there are boys and there are girls, and that was my mindset. And I would say of the 50 or 60 people that were there, and probably the 30 people that talked had the same opinion. Now then, fast forward, so that was Thursday. I went to a basketball game Friday night. I went to Upward Basketball on Saturday and found out that people had a different opinion than mine. You know, people had opinions about the doors, people had opinions about the sinks. So much, very much needed conversation needed to take place. I also felt like that we needed to have some input as far as from the administrators and the teachers, because they're the ones that are going to be enforcing this and directing it and everything like that. The other thing is this is shame on me. During that meeting, I believe there were at least 2 people that made a reference to a House bill that was, and it took me 4 days to go and read that bill, and it pretty much made it clear that this is the way the state of Ohio, as well as 14 other states, are looking at it, that we need to be having a conventional as opposed to an unconventional mindset as far as this restroom situation. And I don't know if that's why people are here or not. So that's a concern that I had, and that's what brought me here. The other thing is, social media is not a friend. And that means that there were a lot of times where there's a lot of information that is shared or whatever. And I've been through the building process in the corporate world as well as a personal building of house. And I know and understand that you need to have a design phase. You sit down and you say, I need X amount of rooms, I need for so many people. And you go down and you sit down, and it is a grueling process. It's grueling for a house, it's grueling for corporate training. And you sit down and you explain to them, this is going to work, this isn't going to work. I understand that this is a design phase, and there's going to be many, many, dealings with many people to get the right feedback to make this the school that we want and that we deserve. Thank you.
Next is Sam Zakor.
Sam Zakor, 970 Rosewood Creek. I want to begin by saying that I and many others in the community feel that we were deceived by you. Prior to passing the PK-8 bond, you shared with this community a totally different plan schematic than what it is now, and certainly never mentioned then anything about including group restrooms. The bond was not cheap, but $100 million, and many taxpayers will struggle to pay the extra property tax as a result of passing of this bond. It is the job of this board to openly scrutinize and discuss issues pertaining to our school district and to align their decision with the majority of the community. Unfortunately, all we have been seeing is that this board seems to be sleeping at the wheel and rarely discuss important issues such as this PKA plan and ask intelligent questions. Many topics go under consent agenda and get rubber stamped with no discussion at all. At the last community engagement meeting, one board member present stated he never knew the group restrooms were on the plan. And another board member also was present, did not feel comfortable engaging with the public, and left as quickly as the meeting ended. As a taxpayer, I want to express my opposition to the proposed implementation of group restrooms in our schools. First and foremost, I believe that safety and privacy of our children should be a top priority. Schools are places where students should feel secure and comfortable. Many parents and taxpayers, including myself, worry that group restrooms may compromise the sense of safety and privacy. Children, especially those in early development stages, may feel uncomfortable or vulnerable in settings where they share restrooms with peers of different biological sexes. Research has shown that privacy in restrooms is important for students' mental well-being. For many children, the experience of using restrooms is already a sensitive issue. Introducing group restroom facilities could increase anxiety and stress for students who may feel exposed or embarrassed. Our children shouldn't be subjected to embarrassment, fear, or shame when using the restroom facilities at school. Our children have an undeniable right to privacy and to dignity, both of which are under threat with the current plan to implement group restrooms. Studies have indicated that group restrooms increase apprehension and discomfort in school-aged children. Child Psychology and Education Journal 2016. These feelings of uneasiness can impact their concentration and overall academic performance. As parents and educators, it is crucial that we foster an environment conducive to their learning and their physical and emotional health well-being, as well as their happiness. You can fix this tonight. If you really care about our kids' well-being and care about what the majority of taxpayers want, you can motion and vote to change this plan to have separate boys and girls restrooms.
No, thank you. Moving on, Kathy Bone.
Kathy Bone, 890 Michaels Road, Tip City, Ohio. The Board of Education is working in the shadows. The philosophy of the board in policy 0118 states that you as board members will keep a two-way communication open with the public. Well, I've stood before this board on many occasions and talked to you about the policies not adhered to and the contracts being broken. You've done nothing to correct or address any of my concerns, and because of that, I do not feel confident that you even read this policy nor care about it. You've already stopped meeting twice a month. Even though you get paid for 2 meetings, you now push them into one day, one before the other. You're discussing shutting down the videos, which you just did in the previous meeting, but I couldn't hear you even though I'm sitting in this room. During that meeting, you whispered among yourselves. So I'm going to have to go home and pull it up on YouTube to hear what you said about those meetings. One board member's already shut down his school Facebook page as not to take any criticism from the public. He also replied in an email he wasn't on the facilities committee. Well, that might be true this year, but in past years he was, along with Mrs. Drum. You are truly working in the shadows. There's a school building going up, and the public has a right to be updated every step of the way. We cannot rely on Mr. Moran for this. This board and Mr. Moran tried to hide these plans as long as possible from the public. I was at a coffee meeting on January 7th, only to discover copies of the plans on the school website I had with me were old. Mr. Moran brought different plans with him, but informed me they were old plans as well, newer than the ones I had, but still old. He acknowledged there were new plans, as did Mrs. Drum, who was at the meeting, but he had left them behind. So much for keeping the public up to date. He finally agreed to put them on the website in his weekly update. The weekly updates were already behind, as only one was posted for the month of December. The website was finally updated by January 13th with the December weekly updates, as well as the new plans dated January 4th, posted within the January 10th update. Mr. Moran, regardless of his little community and coffee meetings, is failing to bring updated plans to the public in a timely fashion. And since this board sits idly by, they are complicit in hiding the plans from the public. There are many concerns. These plans have changed significantly from what the public was told on to pass the bond. We're now looking at 3 stories of stairs for kids to climb multiple times a day, 1 elevator, multiple rooms of wasted space, main office staff and principals on every floor, self-containment rooms, and of course, the unisex bathrooms. After a FOIA request, the emails I saw between a board member and Mr. Moran were enough for me to know that the school board was very well aware of these plans and unisex bathrooms since the month of November. 2 of the emails had no conversation in them, only attachments about transgender bathrooms. The unisex bathroom plans are against the law, no matter how you sit here and say, oh, the laws will change. Right now, the law is current. They are against the law. SB 104, the 135th General Assembly of the state of Ohio. As all of you took an oath to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Ohio and the laws. Senate Bill 104 is a law, and you are dishonoring the public and your seat by breaking the law. This plan needs immediate action taken to be stopped. Mr. Moran needs fired, and all of you need to step down. You're pathetic.
Ann Zakor.
Ann Zakor, Rosewood Creek, Tip City. I think at the heart of all this is trust. We were sent out this flyer before you got our money. It's a good flyer. I think the plan was really reasonable. I sat there and voted for it to put it on the ballot so the taxpayers could decide. Those were my words. Amber, you were at that meeting with me. Mm-hmm. The wings, the kids are isolated, the younger grades at that wing, the older kids are isolated down at that wing. 2 stories. The vestibule, you enter in, all the glass office space is right there. You have an eye shot who's coming into your building when you click that buzzer. That's basic security 101. I don't know how this plan got completely rearranged to 3 stories. And now we have floors, young grades here, the next level this year. We've got 1 staircase. Stagger the times, whatever. I'm pretty analytic. I'm going to tell you, schools do not run like a precision-sized robot. Things happen. Events happen. And so this is a plan that I think needs to be revisited. I hear about the utilities. I don't know what that amount is. You don't either. You couldn't say that. But I did calculate the 3 reading rooms at roughly 8,000 square feet. And I spoke to Mr. Wendell. I don't have the exact number, but anywhere maybe 350. I know, 350 a square foot. You're looking at $2 to $4 million in reading rooms. And when I was there last week, Mr. Moran, I asked you, tell me exactly what that reading room is going to look like on an hour-by-hour basis. Hey, if it's beneficial, all for it. You couldn't do that. So when you talk about utilities, maybe it is smarter to spend that relocation of utilities, stick with your 2-floor plan, put 2 elevators in there, and do away with this nonsense of trying to re-engineer our children with these unisex bathrooms. I've heard some comments. They poop, they pee, they go out, they wash their hands, they're out the door, and hey, life is wonderful. Well, that's not what happens in the world of adolescence. Urine on the seats. No urinals. Out of toilet paper. Hey, okay, you pull your pants up, you try to get back out, you got to take care of business back there, then you got to get back in line to get another one. And let's not forget the hand washing. We got braces, we got food in our mouth. Orthodontists want them to brush their teeth. Do you think children of developmental age have enough confidence to go in there and brush their teeth in 4th and 5th grade, and the boys are looking at them, or vice versa? You can't hardly get your kids to brush their teeth when there's nobody around, let alone with that. They need privacy. They need privacy to fix this, the menstrual area. Things happen. They may want to look at the backside in the full-length mirror to see if anything leaked through. I asked my husband, what should they are private. I'll give you that, very private, those stalls. I said, honey, as a man, what would you see? He goes, well, I can see you do your business, you come up, you pull your pants, you walk out, you get over to the wash station, and you find out walking, hey, this is him, not me. He said, you need to make an adjustment. You don't get a perfect tuck. I think the men know what I'm talking about. So you make the adjustment. What are you going to do? Do that in front of a bunch of girls standing there? Put your hands down, adjust your pants? And then the next thing you know, you got a complaint that a boy is, trying to sexually harass me or something? Or do you get back in line and go into the private stall and then do the adjustment there and come back out? This is time. Children need space, place, and grace. If a girl has a meltdown, how am I doing on my time, Amber?
You got 51 seconds.
If a girl has a meltdown, boy broke up, sometimes they just need to get in that bathroom and cry it out. Get it out of their system, head back, and regroup. These children are not robots and they're not cattle. And no wonder kids don't want to come to school, and the studies show higher anxiety, higher depression in our school-age kids. We're stressing them. Thank you very much.
Tyler Stoss? Okay, sorry.
Tyler Stoss, 712 Stonehenge. The topic why I'm here today deals with our children's safety and peace of mind in a learning environment. I think we can all agree that we want the best for our children, and their education is deeply rooted in that very thought. We entrust educators to have our children's best interest while they are growing, learning, socializing in an environment away from their parents. After seeing the plans for the new pre-K through 8 school building, as well as many other parents, do not support communal restrooms. There is more information needed from Garmin Miller on what this will look like after completion. For those of you wondering, Garmin Miller is the company entrusted to build this new school building for us. Out of all the negative side effects that communal restrooms have, one sticks out indefinitely. Communal restrooms create a reactive environment instead of a proactive one, especially in an adolescent environment. I want to reiterate that the position is not only my own, it is a stance that I share with 235 other individuals within the Tip City community. I asked roughly 2,100 people on the Facebook Tip City page regarding unisex restrooms in the pre-K through 8 school building. Do you support or do you not support group restrooms that enable males and females to use the stalls and spaces jointly? As of yesterday, January 20th, out of 281 votes that I received on this poll, a staggering 235 people, 83%, do not support restrooms that enable males and females to use the stalls and spaces jointly in the new pre-K through 8 school building. This poll was taken to shed light on how the parents in our community feel on this topic. While it is not all of them, it is some of them. We do not only disagree. 83% is a landslide to the opposition. Governor DeWine has taken measures to prevent such a plan in the Protect All Students Act. I would strongly suggest each and every one of you to look at that if you have not. Look at it, scan it, retain the information of what is in the bill. It will be enacted come 25 February this year. It would render this project obsolete and be a cause for great financial concern regarding the building of the new school. Plans for a communal restroom need to change. My research and findings are to make you aware of some of our community's thoughts on communal restrooms that allow a female and male to use toilets side by side. I moved to this area for a few reasons, one of it being a very strong school district. I do not want my 2 sons who will be attending this school to feel anxious around someone or anyone of the opposite sex using the bathroom out of fear of accusations, amongst many other logical reasons. Being the parent I am, I will teach them right from wrong and how to handle social situations that are not safe nor appropriate for adolescent children. I'll also teach them not to put themselves in situations that do not have any benefit to them, something these blueprints fail to do. I ask you to consider these scenarios and ask yourself, could that have been avoided? How would you feel if your student came home, or if your child came home, and told you someone bullied them and no one did anything to intervene while they were trying to use the bathroom? Your daughter comes home and tells you there's someone's son trying to get in her stall while she's using the toilet, She asks you as the parent, why are they doing that? Your son comes home and tells you that he was reprimanded because someone's daughter accused them of touching them from a bullying standpoint inappropriately while they were coming out of the stall, knowing that he did not do anything in any such way. Your daughter come home crying, explaining to you that she was having trouble pulling up her pants after using the bathroom and she needed help. Her female friend helped her, but in the middle of this group restroom, males were sitting by laughing. I ask you again, could that have been prevented? I'm not irrational, nor do I claim to be a what-if person. Without a doubt in my mind, I know these restrooms will create a reactive environment rather than a proactive one. Creating a space... Sorry, was that time?
30 seconds.
Sure. Creating a space that is not only unsafe for children, it provides zero confidence in us as the parents, knowing that our school district does not have the best interest in mind for our children. As parents, we do whatever it is necessary to make our kids feel safe and that they can express themselves freely. I am here to prove this very theory and to prove that many, many others in our community. And thank you.
You give me like a signal.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you when you have 30 seconds left.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Corinne Dahl, 958 Brookmere Avenue. I've been to the past community gatherings about the bond, and I went to tons before the bond passed. I went to a lot after the bond passed. Ms. McMurray, yeah, thanks. So I really need you guys to get this right, because I am also a taxpayer. I'm a parent, and I care about this building, what it looks like, and who it serves. And I stayed after and I spoke with Mr. Moran. He got a lot of feedback. My concern is that how does one person retain all of that feedback and turn it into an action or turn it into a recommendation for you guys to move forward? And so for the next community events that you have planned, I think it'd be really great if you brought them back here. I think a lot of you were there when we were talking and we were planning, and we had these great tables, and there were we could give feedback, and then we'd come back again and we could see it actioned and what it looked like and reflected in those plans moving forward. I really hope that you pivot to something that looks like that, especially after this whole bathroom thing. It really kind of shone a light that the feedback that we had the opportunity to share previously isn't and hasn't been considered into the plans, Mr. Moran, that you are actioning. And one of those things is the tennis courts. In your bond necessity, a resolution of necessity that we signed that went then to the ballot, it states explicitly in there for the tearing down and rebuilding of tennis courts. And this community passed that. So maybe $800,000 to tear down and rebuild some courts kind of seems inflated to me. But also the fact that it passed, your community's okay with that. What we really want is a safe building for our students that makes sense. Go back to that barbell design. It was great. Having an entrance where everybody's going to be funneled through that puts them right into a cafeteria space. We've seen some atrocities in buildings where shooters had access to students and there was no way for the students to go and nowhere to protect them. When you have every visitor entering through an atrium by two receptionists and then dumping them directly into a cafeteria for a pre-K-8 building that's probably going to be used all day, because then the gyms are positioned behind that in this most recent plan. Not safe. I don't want to drop off a third grader and hope after the receptionist sends an email that she gets to the right floor and to the right teacher after wading through a bunch of eighth graders that could be in a study hall, could be in a cafeteria situation. I just really want to know that you're hearing us and that you have a real plan to incorporate these ideas and to make a safer plan for my students and for my money moving forward. This plan is not okay on so many levels. And I really feel like if we get the staff in there, just as a teacher, and I'm a lot of teachers on this panel, like I don't need to tell you that we need to review what is being proposed. And I wish I was in your circle. Kyle, I wish I was one of the people that you listen to, because I could tell you how I feel, and I could tell you, go back to that amazing feedback that you had before. Look at it. It doesn't match what we were told. We don't care about tennis courts. We passed it. What we care about is safe buildings that make sense for all of our students. Thank you so much for your time.
That concludes citizens' comments. Next is the Miami Valley CTC meeting minutes.
Alrighty. We had, in December, we had quite a lengthy meeting. There were several things on the agenda that needed to be taken care of. The first was we adopted our 2025-2026 school calendar, just like we did here at our meeting last month. We had one resignation. We employed 4 new substitute teachers and 1 new adult education instructor. We approved 13 volunteers, new volunteers this year. We also approved 6 out-of-state travel requests. Past that, we enacted we appointed 6 new Education Foundation trustees, and we also had we approved a resolution of a tax increment financing exemption and compensation agreement for the city of West Carrollton in the River District down there. So we also had a incorrect pay step that we needed to correct, so we had to approve taking care of that. The individual was hired in 2019 and was later was placed on a pay step that was incorrect, so we have to go back and compensate her for the past 5 years. Let's see, beyond that, we're working on the purchase of a new property to expand the facilities out there with the CTC. So we had to adopt a resolution to make a purchase offer on that property. We also had a appropriation increase in the general fund, and that was a result of the possible property purchase. We approved several donations. Among them was a 1957 Cessna 182 SA aircraft and the airframe fuselage for that particular plane. There was no engine or propeller involved in that particular situation. We also received a Max Force diesel engine from Sinclair Community College for the Diesel Powered Technologies program. Other than that, our staff gave a professional trip report on students attending the FFA National Convention in Indianapolis, Indiana. And then we also had our treasurer's report, and we moved on to our superintendent's report, who Dr. Welding reflected on the upcoming funding formula phase-in for the next biennial budget. And then, other than that, we had a retiree, Dr. Espelita, thank Mrs. Crabtree for her service to the CTC Board of Education, and give her thank you gift for all of her service. And it was quite a busy meeting.
All right, thank you. Mr. Meeks, is there any other, yes?
So I have 2 reports. So the Parks Board met on the 13th, and the biggest news besides more 5Ks and that sort of thing being approved is that at Kyle Park, the skate park is going to be torn down and pickleball courts. So that's a big thing. That's very popular now. And then the Tittman Road Community Services meeting was the same night as the community engagement, so I tried to attend both meetings since I serve on that committee. I went to the Tittman Road Community Services. I got there a little late so that I could join the engagement meeting for as long as I could. They went over many things. The breakfast with Santa was a huge success. They also were involved with the Christmas parade, which was new this year, and the holiday light contest, with winners that were posted in the paper, and their brochure came out a little bit late this year. The classes are already starting this week and run through the spring. They are pumped up for the purse auction, so if you'd like to donate a purse for the purse auction, that is the huge fundraiser for the summer lunch program. And it's become a huge event here in TIP, and they raise a lot of money for the summer lunch program, which serves an incredible number of our families over the summer. And they also support Camp Kern, which will be over Valentine's weekend. They received a grant from the Tip City Foundation for $3,600 to help with Camp Kern, but if you would like to sponsor one of our 5th graders, you can contact Tip Monroe Community Services to help with sponsorship. We want as many of our 5th graders to go as possible. And that's about it. Any other committees? Okay, moving on.
Treasurer's report. Public content is the monthly financial report listed below. Mr. Stevens, would you like to report on the information?
Attached to the agenda is the report for the December month, the month of December. This is 6 months through the school year. We are halfway there. Nice 50% of activity. Right off, I'll just state that we were able to reconcile. We are seeing the largest amounts in our red tree accounts for the building funds that we've received. Attached, you'll also have interest earnings, and you can see that total investment earnings last month in December were over $200,000. So, and we'll see that again increase as the time goes on, and we don't spend any of the money yet. I did mention that we have made it to halfway through the year. If you look at the last page of the financial report, you can see the comparison between the forecast and any budget changes versus what we're actually doing. And if you look down, you can see that we're trending right there around the 50% mark in all of the activities. Any of the activities that are not trending at that 50% level or close to it, I have the documentation of why we're seeing differences. We're currently under in property taxes, but that's because you have more collections at the first half of a calendar year than you do in the second half. And when I look back last year at the same time, we had the exact same percentage of collections at this, after the first 6 months of activity. The one section that was cause for concern, and I did look into it deeper, was other expenditures. I mean, we can see that the other expenditures was for the other expenditures, it was trending much lower than expected. Other expenditures is the money that is being pulled from our foundation revenue for the ESC costs that we pay for student services. And I noticed that was lower than what it should be, and after investigating, it turned out that the Montgomery County ESC had not been pulling payments in foundation, and I had to contact them and say, hey, what's going on? And they just didn't put it through. So that has picked up. I did confirm on our January financial report, not January financial report, and the foundation money for January, the ESC payment has jumped up significantly, and that's because not only are they now going to take the Montgomery County money for the second half of the year, they're also picking up what they didn't take in the first half of the year. So we'll see that number catch back up as the ESC is paid. Other than that, I have nothing further to add. A building project, we really haven't done anything yet as we're still in the design phase. Not part of December, but actually part of January. I just want to let you know that the drawdown, the first drawdown of state funding from OFCC has been received according to the drawdown schedule that was developed with OFCC and the building group on what we're going to need. And so We did receive $700,000 last week. It has been placed into a Star Ohio account specifically for the state OFCC portion, and the interest earned on that money will be recorded and kept, and then it'll either be used on the project if there's any need for it, or it'll be sent back to OFCC. Any questions that I can answer for board members at this time? All right, thank you very much.
Next is fiscal year 25 appropriation amendments. I would love a motion for the approval of the fiscal year 25 appropriation amendment.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Mays, is there a second? Second by Mr. Thompson. Any discussion? Oh, Mr. Stevens.
We had 4 accounts that we did increase appropriations, and one of those is the bond retirement fund. The Miami County Auditor's Office has certified the amount of funding that will be received for these next 6 months, and they have listed $2,497,000. That's the debt that we're going to pay on the bond issue, and that's part of the funding that we're going to receive. So Fund 2 has been increased for the debt payment on the bond. Fund 10 has been increased just for the state portion of the project. We had nothing there yet, and now we've just increased it for any upcoming. And that amount of $2,124,000 ties back to the drawdowns that the state is going to authorize over the next 6 months. We've already got the first amount, which was $700,000. We'll look at that. The others are one was in Fund 4. That's just to return some funding that we advanced from the general fund to the building fund to pay for the design costs for the bus garage, etc. And now that we have received the funding, we put it into the general fund. And then there was a $63 change in Fund 499 that was just transposing a number. It's supposed to be $81.17, and I put down $18.17. So 63 divisible by 9, you know you messed up something there, right? That's all I have.
All right, any other discussion? All right, and then we'll go ahead and vote.
Maines?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Drum?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes. Motion passes. All right, next is our consent agenda items. Under consent agenda is prior meeting minutes from December 17th, prior meeting minutes from December 17th, regular meeting. January 7th, organizational meeting. January 7th, records meeting. New hires, resignations, substitutes, supplemental positions, overnight and out-of-state trips, transportation resolution, donation acceptance, TIP education endowment grant acceptance, and TIP foundation grant acceptance. I will love a motion for the consent agenda.
All motion.
Moved by Mrs. McMurray. Is there a second? I'll go ahead and second it. Any discussion? Oh, no, there's no discussion on consent agenda items. So moving forward, go ahead and vote.
Amber, if you give me one moment,
Yeah,
I
you're
have
fine.
to do something.
You're fine.
All right, I have down McMurray,
Yes.
Drum,
Yes.
Dillard,
Yes.
Maines,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, consent agenda motion passes. Okay, new business. New business, first item is the emergency tax levy renewal intent to proceed. Under public content is the resolution declaring intent to proceed with election on the quarter question of renewal of an emergency tax levy. And then the motion that I would love I'd love a motion to approve the resolution declaring intent to proceed with election on the question of renewal of an emergency tax levy. Moved by Mr. Thompson, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Maines. Is there any discussion on the resolution declaring intent to proceed with election on the question of renewal of an emergency tax levy?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to explain to the public what this represents. It's, you know, we're not asking for any increase in money. In essence, because the formula stays the same over the next 5 years, just like the last one did. And that the millage therefore goes down because property values have gone up. However, even though property values have gone up, the tax does not go up. So I thought maybe, David, you might expand on that.
Yeah, last time I used the analogy of the pie. For an emergency levy, the pie never changes. It's always the same amount of slices. All right, I'd say, take that back. The same amount of pie. You just have, as people move into the district, as more houses are being built in the district, as property values go up, the size of the pie stays the same, but the piece that you get either shrinks or increases based on the increase of the value of your home or whatnot. Unlike an operating levy, that is set for a certain millage, and that will go up and increase. You will pay the same every time. As more people move in, it doesn't decrease. It doesn't decrease. You're still going to pay the same amount that was passed, unless, anyway, I don't want to get too much into it. But again, as Mr. Maine said, the dollar amount of the levy overall is not increasing. It will be renewed it's being asked to be renewed for a period of 5 years, which is what it's been since it was first issued. It was approved by the voters back in 2015. It has been renewed one other time, and this will be the second renewal.
As you can see in the content, previous millage when it was voted, it was 4.95 was the millage. In 2019, it was 4.5, and for this 2025, it's 2.97. So again, the millage has dropped. The collection of the $1.846 million remains the same. It's the same number as it was.
Any other questions? Right, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote.
Thompson? Yes. Maines?
Yes.
Drum?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes for the resolution declaring intent to proceed with election on the question of renewal of the emergency tax levy. All right. Next, I need a motion to approve the OFCC recommendation contract for Garmin Miller to serve as the architect for the K-8 building project.
On motion.
Moved by Mrs. McMurray,
I'll second.
second by Mrs. Dillard. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I've got just one thing. I noticed on the top of it, it says architect engineer agreement form K through 12.
Should it be PK? That's all it's in.
I would double check. I think this is just totally language for all their agreements.
Okay.
But this, yeah. But when you look at,
Yeah, look at the high score
when you look at the scope
Yeah.
of work, it specifically says build new PK8, renovate existing Timberview High School, demolish, so it spells it out down here.
Yeah.
But it is a PK12 school project.
Right.
Okay. And then the only other question I have is this the amount that we budgeted for when we came up with the school building project? Or has it increased, or is this the same?
So this is negotiated through OFCC.
Okay.
So OFCC negotiates this with, you have the construction manager, you have the commissioning agent, and we have as well as the architect, engineer.
Okay.
That's all negotiated by them.
Okay.
They negotiate, and there's a range that's in the negotiations. It's within that range as expected.
Okay.
That sort of dovetails into a question I have. I didn't see anywhere in the contract, this may be something OFCC negotiates, But typically on a project of this size and scale, performance bond is included. Do you know if that's something that, again, unless I overlooked it, I didn't see it in the contract. Do you know if that's something that we're allowed to ask for if the OFCC asks for it from Garmin Miller? Yep. Performance bond is just a type of surety bond issued by an insurance company to guarantee satisfactory completion of the project by the contractor. So many times it'll cost you more money, but it's there to safeguard because the bond company might compensate the project owner for any losses incurred during the project if satisfactory performance is not completed or it's not done in time, all that kind of stuff. So it might be just worth checking into.
Language there.
In Article 7.
It's in Article 7. It's in there, but definition of contract. I can get that. If you look in
There's a performance bond mentioned inside the contract, yes.
Do you know, where is it mentioned?
It's on page 93. It talks about performance bond, with getting a written guarantee to the owner providing financial assurance that the construction manager, or that the CM will perform the work in accordance with the contract documents. It's also mentioned again on page 96.
Great.
All right, any other questions? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote on the motion for the agreement with Gardner Miller. OFC's recommendation for the contract. That is me all the time.
Okay, that's me, sorry.
You're fine.
McMurray,
Yes.
Dillard,
Yes.
Drum,
Yes.
Mays,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes for the approval of the OFCC recommendation contract for Garmin Miller to serve as the architect for our pre-K-8 building project. Okay, next I would love a motion for the approval of the OFCC recommended contract for Stan Engineering to serve as the commissioning agent for the K-8 building project. Under public content, you'll find the full contract agreement. Moved by Mr. Thompson.
I'll second.
Thank you. Second by Mrs. Dillard. Is there any discussion?
I think I had a question for Dave, and he answered it, but I don't know if he came, and you had thought the same thing. But I want to make sure that this was already, this is not over and above what we've already budgeted for, it's in there. And Dave explained to me that OFCC is the one who, so if it forces the issue, you have to do it. So they're the ones that negotiate it.
Yeah, so what will happen is at the end of the project, the commissioning agent is going to go through and they're going to provide us documentation of all of the air conditioner, everything, appliance-wise, everything that's in this building. And it's going to include all kinds of information, such as, what each of these items are, the maintenance for each of these items, the schedule on which you should be following, and then this commissioning agent is going to go through and tell us what we need to be doing to keep our building up. When I was at Milton, after the building had been in place for 10 years, the OFCC recommended you recommission the building, where you have a commissioning agent come back in and go through and review everything and tell you how the building is and then update all of that information if needed. So this is definitely something that we have to have. OFCC includes this in the project. This has been part of the budget, that we're going to have a commissioning agent working on this building for us. Greg's question was, is this like our owner's representative? This is not like the owner's representative, this guy's working for OFCC, where the owner's representative is working for us. So it is definitely something we have to do.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote.
Thompson?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes.
Drum?
Yes.
Maines?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes.
Motion passes for the approval of the recommended contract for Stan Engineering to serve as the commissioning agent for the pre-K to 8 building project. Next is a motion to approve the contract between Shared Resources Center and Tip City Schools for payroll services term in January 13th, 2025 through June 30th of 2025.
Okay. I move that we approve the payroll.
The payroll, Mrs. Dillard, and then Mrs. McMurray, did you want the second? I'll second. Okay. All right, and then is there any discussion?
Is this the same company we've always used, or is it different?
This is the same group out of Montgomery County ESC, Shared Resources. They provide stopgap services for the treasurer's offices. They do treasurer services, payroll services, accounts payable services. We've used them before in the past. One of the items in the consent agenda was the resignation of the payroll clerk for Tip City. She is moving on to another position in management at an ITC, which is like Meta here, but it's going to be up in Cleveland, and she's going to be allowed to work remotely, so she doesn't have to move. So it's a very good opportunity for her. She used to work for an ITC before she came to us. So while we're spending our time searching for a new payroll clerk, Shared Resources will be able to help us to get our payroll out every 2 weeks. They will not be doing full payroll services, other duties that Brittany had performed. They're just helping us get the payroll out. So we'll be, it at least allows us time to find someone that can appropriately fill the payroll position in the district. So this is, I actually worked for this group many, many years ago as an assistant treasurer for another district. So they perform a service that is definitely needed here for school districts.
They do it for a lot of districts too.
They do it for a lot of districts, yes.
Any other questions on Shared Resources? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote.
Dillard?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes.
Drum?
Yes.
Maines?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
All right, motion passes for the contract between Shared Resources and Tip City Schools for payroll services. Next is the motion to approve the 2025-26 program of studies for Tippecanoe Middle School.
I think we skipped one.
Oh, did I miss one? Oh, sorry. My bad, guys. I apologize. Okay, sorry. Consultant contract. Motion to approve the consulting contract between Brittany McLean and Tip City Schools for payroll services. Term is January 27th, 2025 through June 30th of 2025. The consultant contract is included in public content.
I'll motion.
Moved by Mr. Thompson. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Bain. All right, discussion.
I'll take this one.
Okay.
You might find it odd to have a shared resources contract for payroll and then a consultant right below that. And even more so is that it's Brittany McLean, who's the staff member who's resigning. Like I mentioned, with the shared resources contract, they're making sure we're getting payroll out. There are some other things that are going to need to be done that don't have to be done during the 9 to 5 of the day. And so it's kind of like when I stayed on to help train the former treasurer when I left the district, I was asked to help do some things. And so this is kind of the same thing. There's services, there's things that are going to need to be done for payroll, such as getting out 1095 tax forms, doing some filings with the state, and also we're coming up on contracting season, and those are things that that Shared Resources is not going to be able to handle for us. And so we've got this consultant contract with Brittany she can do these things after hours, and it's all set up to be done through timesheets, and she has to work with me on what she's working on. She has to tell me that or I have to ask her to do something before she can just say that she did it. And so I feel this is a necessary stopgap for me and this is not guaranteed payment. This is only payment if work is done. And so if we do find a payroll clerk who can take over and come right in and just jump in doing the job, then these services aren't going to be necessary. So I just feel that this is something that we should put in place so that we're not left hanging, trying to figure things out and missing some deadlines in the process. And you notice the rates are much different between the two contracts.
Is the job posted?
It is posted. We have received many applicants. I was very surprised at how many appeared this past weekend. And while I don't believe any of them have payroll experience in a school district, there are quite a few that have payroll experience, which is definitely a plus. I believe that the last time, not when we hired Brittany last year, but the payroll search before that in 2022, it was, I think, 2 people applied. So this is definitely much better to see.
Is this the same rate that she was receiving when she was working here?
Yes, it is.
And she's just being employed for the transition, basically,
Correct.
trained.
Correct. And again, if we only need her for 2 hours, then it's just 2 hours and that's it.
It's great that she agreed to do that.
Yeah. She does not want to, she's happy to be moving on to a good position, but she's also, didn't want to leave me hanging, so I appreciate her for doing that.
Okay, any other questions? Discussion? Okay, moving on, we'll go ahead and vote.
Thompson?
Yes.
Maines?
Yes.
Drum?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, next is program of study. A motion to approve the 25-26 program of studies for Tippecanoe Middle School and Tippecanoe High School that was presented in our work session today. The drafts are included in the public content.
A motion.
Moved by Mrs. McMurray,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Thompson. Mrs. McMurray, do you have anything?
No, I just wanted to say I appreciated the presentation that Dawn and the principals presented with their rationale as to why. Also, I appreciated the fact that they had data collection from the teachers and the parents and the students going into this, and that they are looking at the things that we added previously and collecting quantitative and qualitative data on that as well. So I think this was very, very focused effort. And as a parent, I'm excited for these things to be offered to the students.
Mr. Thompson?
Oh, I agree. I think they're exciting offerings. I told them when they were here, I think these are very forward-thinking offerings, and I think they're meeting students with the challenges they're going to face in the real world and in the environment that they're currently growing up in. So I'm all for it. I think there's some really exciting stuff coming up for kids.
I'm always impressed with how they get, sorry, I didn't mean to jump in. I'm always impressed with how they get student feedback too, and make sure that we're offering things to the students when I participate in. I know that they don't all want to do like, math, science, and all of that stuff. So sometimes they don't want to do that, but the electives parts is cool.
Yeah.
Because then they get to like find things that work for them, that make them excited about coming to school every day. So. Rick, Cindy, do you guys have anything? I know.
There were a lot of changes with the red lines and different things. I just think it's great that this ongoing updating to what's current is so important to keep our district in the forefront. So I appreciate all their hard work, and I meant to ask them how those curriculum committees are going with the teacher reps, and I forgot to ask. So,
I'd hope, I can't assume, but I'd like to hope to think that by having those committees, they played a role in
You have to find
putting
it
this together, yeah.
Yeah, I know in the past that they've been helpful. And you're right, yeah.
To a point.
Yeah. Thank you, Tyler, I appreciate it.
I thought it was pretty great that, when I read through this plan and so forth, and it's kind of like, what these kids are learning in the 6th grade, I didn't learn till I was a junior in high school, things have changed. So those kids are going to be well prepared for the future.
Yeah, I love sorry, side note, but I love that they can take language now, so that, that helps them in high school, maybe
Oh, yeah.
open up another class or whatever for something else that they can pursue. So I do love the opportunities that we're creating for our students.
Getting financial literacy pushed all the way back into the middle school.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's great.
Huge.
Yeah.
I don't think I had that until I was a junior in high school.
Yeah.
Why did you?
Many kids never had it.
I was taught it then. I
Yeah.
learned it.
Yes.
until
Yeah.
I graduated college.
I know, there was not in my school either, so.
it was a job, it's
Yeah.
Spring Hill, that was financial.
Yeah, you figured it out, you're thinking it's a job. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote on the motion to approve the 2025-26 program of study for Tippecanoe Middle School and Tippecanoe High School.
McMurray?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Drum?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes,
Maines?
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Okay, next is a motion to approve the Neola 43.1 fall update. This is this is a final read on it. It was the policies that myself and Mrs. Dillard and Mr. Moran and Dave spent a ton of time going over, and thank you for all the work, guys. Going over all those policies. Do you have any questions?
Are you asking for a motion?
Oh, yeah, I should probably do that first, huh?
Because I'll make
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thompson. Is there a second? I'm passing the. Second. Awesome. Thank you, Mrs. Dillard. Now, is there any other discussion on it? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote on the motion to approve the Neola 43.1 fall update.
Thompson?
Yes.
Dillard?
yes,
Drum?
Yes.
Maines?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes.
Motion- Oh, sorry.
One more.
One more. Motion passes. All right, now I would entertain a motion to approve the addition of a special meeting to the Board of Education meeting schedule. We would like to add a special meeting to the meeting schedule as follows. It's on February 3rd, 2025 at 6 p.m. The location is at the Tip City Administration Office, which is located at 260 South Garber Drive in Tip City. The purpose of the meeting is to discuss the West Edge property and the Broadway property.
I'll move that we have a special meeting on February 3rd.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And moved by Mrs. Dillard. All right, is there any discussion?
This is a combination with the city council, correct? This is the one, okay. And I think sometimes people forget that we cannot all at the same time attend meetings together due to sunshine laws. And also, sometimes we are parents and professionals and can't get to all the community meetings, but if we, have ahead of time notice and we know that this is an important topic that we all need to be there, we make every concession to be there.
Agreed.
I'm excited about the meeting.
Me too.
Because
too.
it's a partnership with the
Yes.
city and schools, and the city should work together because
Yes.
we're all trying to produce positive citizens in our community that will, in the future, grow our community and add to the quality of the community. So I'm excited about it.
Me too.
I'm just excited to kind of have an idea of what might happen with that property.
Yes.
It's exciting. The possibilities are endless, I feel like. So I'm excited to have community input on some ideas, and there's some good things in the works, so I'm excited about it. Okay. Any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote on the special meeting on February 3rd at 6 p.m.
Dillard,
Yes?
McMurray,
Yes.
Drum,
Yes.
Maines,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
All right, motion passes. Okay, next is a discussion item. It's, yeah, we have to do a motion though, right? Okay. Okay, so discussion item about the renewal of the OSBA membership and then possible action to follow. So you guys should have received this information on what, Friday? Thursday? With information about OSBA and the cost of being a member. So, floor is open for discussion, unless you want to start, Dave.
I'll start. So attached is a copy of the invoice for the Ohio School Board Association's annual membership for the Tip City Board of Education. It's based on the enrollment of the district, and so this would be higher or lower for larger districts. So ours is $7,814, and so Mr. Moran received the invoice in question is, are we receiving enough benefit to justify this expense? Attached to the invoice, I provided documentation. Part of it was provided by OSBA. It's on their website. Just tells all the different membership benefits that you have. One of the items that I was concerned with, we received our board docs annual license through pricing with OSBA. So OSBA has worked it out with board docs that it saves us $2,000. And so I called board docs and said if we were not a member, what would happen? And they said, you've already paid for this year. We paid our bill for board docs in December to cover all of 2025. They said we would have to send you an updated invoice and pay the remaining $2,000. Because we pay $9,600 now, and it would be $11,600 if we didn't have OSBA. So that's one item. And there are some other things that we do. We have some PD that board members can take, or there are some training classes that staff members can take. You receive a discounted price if you're a member. We also attend the OSBA conference. The board members, we are included in the policy update. We sent our representative to go to the policy meeting. I'm not sure there's a discount. I'm not sure if we would even be able to attend. We certainly wouldn't be able to attend if we're not a member district. I apologize. We wouldn't be able to attend the meeting, policy meeting, if we weren't a member district. However, I believe we can still pay the fee to attend because for the community school that I do on the side, we were not a member, but we were allowed to pay the fee to attend the meeting, or attend the capital conference, that's the word for it. So we have been a member of OSBA for years. I don't think there's been a year where we haven't been a member, but we just felt that this was something that we should talk with on the board and just determine if they would like to still be a member of the OSBA.
When I looked at it, I thought, they've got a lot of benefits, and I don't think we take advantage of all the benefits. But it sure looked like to me, like, the policy updates and Neola and all those kind of things, that I thought it was a good thing. So I don't know, I mean.
You bring up a good point. You bring up a good point because all the board members do receive emails from OSBA updating us on the legal changes that are coming through or going into the House and the Senate and what they're discussing. I do receive emails like that through OASBO, the Ohio Association of School Business Officials. My membership for that is much cheaper, and sometimes they do have similar emails that go out because they will work in conjunction with each other to make sure the same information is going out, but there is information from OSBA that is not through OASBO as well. So you are absolutely correct, Rick. There would be some information that you would probably not receive. And you also are receiving the quarterly newsletters and magazines that they send out digitally, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So,
Amber, didn't you mention once upon a time?
Oh, I used to call those
I was
a
gonna
lot
say,
for legal issues,
Probably,
a lot of times.
yeah, just in some of those phone calls.
Yeah, I called Sarah quite regularly. So, I mean, I might have a different, I don't know.
The membership does not include the annual conference, correct?
It does not.
I just don't.
there is
Just
a,
our membership, our annual membership, which is, if I would join OSBA on my own, how much would that be?
that I
Maybe
don't
look that up.
know. There is a highlight in OSBA's documentation that does state over 99% of Ohio public schools are members of OSBA.
OSBA.
Yeah, there's 610 public school districts, I believe, in the state of Ohio, so you're looking at 6 that are not members.
And
Yes.
I know I've taken a couple of the online classes too for OSBA, just to catch up on things or figure out some new stuff that maybe I missed along the way. Go ahead.
I guess my question is there a good reason for us to not be, since we haven't been a part of OSBA for a long time, is there a good reason for us to not be other than saving a little bit of money? Because otherwise, I think with 99% of school districts as members, I don't think I'd want to be on the other side again, or not have access to some of these things at a time that we might really need it.
And I will say, the board docs representative I spoke to said that OSBA has locked in this rate forever. So it would be, if we weren't locked in, I think he said that the prices stay relatively the same, but how long could that last before they have to start increasing it? The OSBA, he said, is locked in to their price. And we actually got in at a cheaper price because we've been a member of board docs longer than others. So we're actually seeing lower prices than what others are paying through OSBA membership for board docs. So same with these.
I personally advocate for keeping it. Is that what the vote is?
Well,
There's
we
not
don't,
even
we
a
don't
vote,
have
it's not.
anything, so we need to decide if someone would like to make a motion for us to continue our membership with OSBA.
I will make that motion. Continue our membership at OSBA.
Moved by Mr. Thompson and seconded by Mr. Mays to continue our membership with OSBA. Is there any other discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. Sorry, guys.
Thompson?
Yes.
Baines?
Yes.
Drum?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes.
McMurray?
Yes.
All right, motion passes.
I could do that all by memory.
Look at that. Good job. Okay, next is our upcoming meetings. Our next work session and regular board meeting will occur on February 18th, 2025. Our work session will begin at 5, and then our regular meeting will begin at 6 at LT Ball Intermediate School. But we also have that special meeting that we just approved previously. That'll be on February 3rd at 6 p.m. at the Administration City Building. Okay. Yeah. All right. At this time, I would love a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Oh, motion.
Moved by Mrs. McMurray. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Dillard. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed to vote.
McMurray?
Yes.
Dillard?
Yes.
Drum?
Yes.
Maines? Thompson?
Yes.
All right, motion passes.